Super Smash Bros franchise is one of my personal favorites, a crossover between dozens of massive and more minuscule Nintendo series, along with some incredible third-party ones as well, all put into one fun platform fighter unlike anything else. It's hard not to see why so many people enjoy these games, both casually and competitively. Of course, you've got Smash 64, which, while it's probably the least talked about nowadays, is still very important. I mean, it is the one that started the series and is still fun and enjoyable in its own right. Melee is still one of the most popular fighting games out there, and its single player, while lacking in some departments, is still very fun. Smash for Wii U and 3DS are both solid games all around and set the groundwork for Smash Ultimate, which is easily the best in the series, having some of, if not the best single player and multiplayer in the entire series, depending on who you ask. And then there's Brawl. Super Smash Bros Brawl, released on January 31st, 2008, the Smash game whose claim to fame is the Supspace Emissary, and that's it. Yeah, outside of Subspace, and I guess maybe Meta Knight, Brawl as a fully-fledged game doesn't get talked about a lot anymore. People still remember Brawl, of course, but don't really go back to it. However, this isn't anything new. I mean, people aren't really going back to Smash 64 nor Smash for Wii U or 3DS, it's just how things go, with Melee being a bit of an exception. But I am of the belief that Super Smash Bros. Brawl has a lot more merit to it than those two other Smash games. I think that Brawl is very underrated and still has a lot of reasons to go back to it. And so that's what I'm going to prove to you in this video by going over everything the game has to offer. It may not be perfect, the game or the video, but trust me, they are both still great. So without any further introductions, let's hop into defending Super Smash Bros. Brawl. The Super Smash Bros. Brawl intro. It's just so weird. I mean, seriously, like, why the hell are the lyrics in Latin? And what do any of these lyrics even have to do with Smash Bros., the game where you get to fuck up Ganondorf as Luigi? That said, for as strange as this intro is, it goes pretty hard. Makes the game feel so much more grandiose than ever before, like this is the crossover, the Smash Bros. Game, because at the time, it really was. No better place to start than with Brawl's Brawl Mode, where you brawl. The starting roster for Brawl is pretty good, having a variety of newcomers available and also plenty of returning characters. However, this is the first Smash Bros. Game to cut characters, such as Pichu, Young Link, Roy, Dr. Mario, and Mewtwo. Although most of these are just clone characters, it sucks to see them go, but a lot of them got alternative characters that sort of makes up for it, so it's alright. The newcomers Brawl added are really good, finally giving us characters like Wario, King Dedede, Meta Knight, and Diddy Kong, just to name a few, and there were some really interesting additions as well, like Lucas, whose game never even came to America, Pokemon Trainer, who was 3 characters in one, Zero Suit Samus, who you could either transform into by using Samus's final smash, or vice versa, or you could just hold L and R when you select Samus on the main screen, Olimar, who's a fun pick with an interesting gimmick, Rob, who might just be the strangest character they've ever put into Smash, being a peripheral for the NES, definitely this game's what the fuck character, and of course the third-party characters being Solid Snake and Sonic, both of which opened the floodgates for potential characters. When I was a kid, I didn't even know Snake or Sonic were third-party characters, I thought they were just Nintendo. They even had to delay the game just to get Sonic in it, and because of that they threw in some bonus characters, being Toon Link, Jigglypuff, and Wolf. Wolf's definitely the coolest one because, I mean, look at him, he's just kinda neat. Brawl's roster definitely feels very well-rounded, like every character makes sense to be here. And Rob. Then there's 31 new stages with an asterisk, and then 10 returning from Melee. I really like Brawl stages. Not a lot of them are very good for competitive, basically just Smashville, but it has a lot of great non-competitive stages, slash semi-competitive stages, you know what I mean? I'm talking stuff like Yoshi's Island, Battleship Halberd, Pokemon Stadium 2, WarioWare, Luigi's Mansion, PictoChat. Stages where, yeah, there's hazards and stuff, but the stage itself is competitively friendly enough where you can actually still fight each other, and at the stage itself. I really enjoy these types of stages where you can use the stage to your advantage instead of the stage disadvantaging you. They're a lot of fun. Some of them even ended up being used for competitive play, like Yoshi's Island and Battleship Halberd, because your standard competitive options were Battlefield, Final Destination, and Smashville. That's it. Brawl also introduced the Stage Builder, and this thing was a lot of fun to mess around with. Sure, the Stage Builder in Smash for Wii U allowed for more customization, but I always liked the simplicity of Brawl's Stage Builder. I always found myself scratching my head for stage ideas in Smash 4, but in Brawl, there's tons of fun little items to mess around with and base a stage off of. You could also make a box stage where you couldn't leave nor die and just have a super chaotic match. Basically the only way I ever found coin battles fun. Special Smash is also pretty great, allowing you to combine a bunch of different abilities and effects to create some stupid-ass matches. I've had a surprising amount of fun with this mode with friends because it just brings the skill ceiling to the fucking floor, meaning you can play with your less gifted friends and still have fun. Brawl is without a doubt the least competitive Smash game, but it honestly makes for a really fun party game, which I guess is what Nintendo calls it anyway. Turning on all the items and on high, playing on wacky stages, ridiculous settings. Smash games have always had these options, but Brawl really magnifies them. The game's lack of combos outside of Meta Knight and chain grabs, plus the floating nature of it, makes this side of Smash stick out, and honest to God, it's pretty fun. Final smashes are what make it for me. When a Smash Ball appears, it immediately diverts everyone's attention to it, and once someone grabs it, it puts everyone on edge. People are rolling, spot dodging, but still trying to fight each other. It's chaos, but that's fun sometimes. Needn't a game always be some competitive masterpiece that displays a person's skills and talents as they string together masterfully executed combos with precision and diligence? It can just be fun bullshit sometimes. The Smash Bros series is most well known for its platform fighting, but Brawl specifically is more well known for its one-of-a-kind adventure mode, titled the Supspace Emissary. Supspace Emissary is without a doubt the coolest and most unique element that Brawl has to offer. It takes all of the Smash characters and throws them into a side-scrolling beat-em-up, similar to the adventure mode for Melee, but far more expanded upon and way less monotonous. The story is pretty simple. There's a bad guy called the Ancient Minister who's dropping bombs everywhere, and there's also the usual bad guys from the different Nintendo franchises who are turning characters into trophies using their creatively named Dark Guns. The good Smash characters are tasked with defeating these bad guys and traversing the different levels filled with a variety of enemies, some familiar and some completely unique to the Subspace Emissary. Outside of completing levels, there are also collectibles in the form of stickers and trophies that you can find scattered throughout each stage. Sometimes enemies drop them, sometimes they're just lying around, or sometimes you'll find them in these golden orb box things that count towards 100%. Also, some of the collectibles that are just lying around count towards 100% as well. I've always found the Subspace Emissary to be really fun. The cutscenes are without a doubt the coolest part, because it's just neat to see the different Nintendo characters and a few non-ones interacting in an overarching story. But still, the gameplay is engaging, the variety of enemies and characters you play keeps things interesting. Even if the enemies don't change, the characters you play as do, and using your character's unique strengths to defeat enemies is fun. Even if most of the time you just whack them a bit, but like I said, it's still fun. Subspace Emissary isn't too hard, unless you play on intense difficulty, which is what I did. There are 5 difficulties in total: easy, normal, hard, very hard, and intense. The most balanced is definitely hard, but the higher the difficulty, the more stickers and trophies you get, and the higher chance of the trophy stand item dropping. You can use the stickers you collect and put them onto each character to do things like buff some attribute like an arm attack or a sword attack or something like boosting their shield. The stickers can also do other things like giving a character an item to start with or up the chance for more stickers to appear. I've never really messed around with this too much, but it is honestly pretty useful. The only limitation being how many stickers you can fit for each character, with better stickers being bigger, and you can't stack the stat buffs. You can use the trophy stand items to throw at enemies, and if they're at low enough HP, they'll turn into a trophy that you can collect. This is the only way of collecting these trophies, so it makes them feel kind of special and worth trying to collect, even if you don't really care about collecting every single trophy. Although it can be a challenge with some enemies, especially on intense, where all it takes is sometimes 2 or 3 hits and you're dead. Seriously, some enemies I just can't stand, like these Armite guys who hit you like twice and you're already at 40, or the Autolanes bitches who attack so quickly and have such high kill power, the damn Greeps who are so annoying to kill and sometimes just decide to keep jumping and swinging around their dual-wielding scythes in an unavoidable attack that deals like 50 damage. Rotors, Roturuses, Glyce, Glunders, Glyes, I hate them all! But it's still fun. The level design isn't anything to write home about, but for what it's worth and how the stages are set up, I think it's fine. The levels themselves are fun to play through, and the bosses are great. They all feel pretty unique and challenging. Although my biggest complaint with Supspace is the lack of Nintendo enemies. Sure, there's stuff like Goombas and Koopa Troopas, but that's kind of it for enemies, and bosses are a little better with some cool additions, but it still has this, like, rhino guy and this duo robot thing that for some reason turns out to be Mr. Game & Watch. The villains, at first, are characters like Bowser and Wario, who are being ordered by Ganondorf, who's being ordered by Master Hand, who's being controlled by Taboo. The climax to Taboo is really cool, having cutscenes with all the different characters coming and working together to defeat Ganon and Bowser, who are on this unnecessarily badass looking thing. I don't even know what it is, but it's sick. Actually, entering the subspace is also great because it's just really cool looking area. I just love how it looks. Once the gang actually meet Taboo, he turns them all into trophies, but don't worry, DDD is actually the hero and put buttons on some of his trophies he collected so that they would turn back to normal. I don't really get how it works, nor how DDD just knew that this would happen, but my headcanon is that since he's a bad guy, the other bad guys approached him about the whole trophy killing stuff, and he denied it because, you know, he's also kind of a good guy, and so to prepare for this, he captured some trophies, somehow made these buttons, and saved the day, because he's just also such a cool guy. They collect each character's trophies back, assuming you grab them all, which does mean you can actually miss some and not be able to use them in the end section of the game. And they also won't appear in the final ending credits, which I just think is really funny. Then they go through the Great Maze, which a lot of people don't seem to like, but personally, I don't mind it. It's a maze, but it's honestly fairly straightforward. It's set up in a way where you can do very little backtracking, basically just looping all the way around from where you start. You have to fight every character and boss throughout the game inside of the Great Maze, which is quite a few. You'll find them behind shadowy doors and fight them in these cool subspace stages that I really wish you could actually play on. Like, seriously, why can't I just choose these for normal Brawl? It'd be so cool. Once you've defeated them all, oh, and by the way, the last character you have to fight is Ganondorf, assuming you did this in, like, the most optimal way possible. You head through this large subspacey door to find Taboo. And also Sonic, he's there too now. You fight Taboo, defeat him, unlock Sonic, and enjoy the Latin credits. There's also the 3 extra characters, being Jigglypuff, Wolf, and Toon Link. You find these guys in certain levels behind newly appeared doors upon entering, take you to 1v1s between you and that character. It's kind of weird how they're just thrown in here, but I guess it'd be weirder if they were just excluded entirely. They were added very late into development, so it makes sense. I mean, 2 of their final smashes are just repeats, and the other one, well, it's just fucking stupid. I absolutely adore Supspace Emissary, and it's a shame we haven't gotten something like it since. Yeah, sure, there's World of Light with spirits and stuff, which is still kind of cool, but I always just viewed it as an alternative to trophies and event mode. Certainly no replacement for the true adventure mode that was the Supspace Emissary. There's a reason why it's the main thing Brawl is remembered for. The cutscenes, the gameplay, the bosses, it's all really great. Maze. Supspace Emissary may be the premier single-player mode of Super Smash Bros Brawl, but there are still a lot of other modes to cover, like the Classic mode. In Classic mode, you select a character to play through a variety of stages, fighting different opponents with different rules. Sometimes it's a 1v1, a 1v2, an ally battle, fight a big guy, fight a metal guy, fight a team of guys, the whole shebang. There's also Target Smash stages thrown in here, which is cool, but unlike in Smash 64 and Melee, where each character had their own individual stage, here there's just a set of 5 ranging from easy to intense difficulty. They're still fun, but definitely not as cool as the previous Smash games. At least, it's not Angry Birds though. The second to last stage is a quote-unquote free-for-all. I say that because they can attack each other, but they basically just go for you most of the time. Then the last stage is Master Hand, who's a good boss, and if you plan hard or above and make it to him in 9 minutes or less, you fight Crazy Hand. Not gonna lie, I didn't even know Crazy Hand existed in this game for a long time. I saw him appear on a video one day, and I thought it was just like a mod or something. Classic mode is, well, classic mode. It's your basic Smash mode. I'd say the biggest thing for a mode like this is for it to not get too repetitive and boring. Outside of playing through it with different characters and different difficulties, in this game's case, easy through intense, some things have to change in order for it to continue to be fun, and in this version of it, it does that pretty well. I'd say it's better than Smash 64's classic mode and Smash for Wii U and 3DS, probably on par with Melee, but definitely worse than Smash Ultimate. I mean, come on, each character having their own classic mode, that's neat. Still though, I like Brawl's classic mode. It's nothing spectacular, but for what it is and is here for, it gets the job done. I like it. I mentioned earlier that Smash Bros Ultimate doesn't have any events, which sucks because I really like the event mode, and spirits are not a perfect replacement for them. Well, luckily for us, Brawl has an event mode, and an event mode it is. It has 41 total events to its name, which is actually less than Melee had. However, to make up for it, there are also 21 extra co-op events that you can play through with a friend, so that's cool. The events themselves are solid enough. Really all they have to be is just fun little themed battles, which they succeed in doing. Although I do prefer Melee's All-Star battles, where you fought each character on their own stage. Here you just fight all of them on the same stage, which is kind of lame in my opinion. You can play through them on easy, normal, or hard. I played through all of them on hard. Not a lot of them gave me trouble now, save for a few, but as a kid I remember these gave me so much trouble, especially this one, Super Waterfall Climb. You're just so floaty, and Zelda's mobility sucks, and her up B is bad for this, and it's just so annoying. The last event, the final battle, is also rough. On hard, it took me about an hour to complete, but I managed it. Once you get the big Mario out of the way, Sonic and Snake aren't bad. I mean, they're not pushovers either, just certainly manageable. Although getting rid of that big Mario sucks, he can kill you in like 2 or 3 hits, and it's just a bitch. Although, sometimes he does accidentally off himself, so that's nice. The event mode is a nice change of pace from the other stuff in the game, even if it is just more battles. They're really unique and fun-themed battles, though, and that's pretty cool. I don't know if I'd say they're better or worse than Melee or Wii U's, but they're definitely on par with them. Now we move on to some of Brawl's smaller modes, which can be found in the Stadium menu. First off, we've got Target Smash, which lets you play and practice all 5 of the different target test stages. It's not really anything more than that, just a convenient way to play them. Like I said, the target test stages in Brawl are pretty lame when compared to Melee, but they're still good. There's usually multiple ways to go about a stage, and using each character's different abilities to complete the stage as fast as you can is fun. There's also, like, items thrown into these stages, which can lead to some cool strats, like using this rolling crate to hit some targets below it. Then there's Home Run Contests, where you're given a home run bat item and 10 seconds to beat up on the sandbag until launching it as far as you can. Unlike in Melee, there's a barrier around the platform, so you can launch the sandbag around without it falling off of the platform. However, the barrier can break if hit too much. I like Brawl's Home Run Contest way more than Melee's because of the barrier and the fact that you can grab items in the air by air dodging, which lets you do things that you couldn't in Melee. Throwing the bat is a good way to deal a lot of damage quickly, so being able to grab it like that helps. Even if I do just usually end up grabbing it with an aerial anyways, but still. It's fun trying to optimize for each character, figuring out what the best way to deal a lot of damage and quickly, while not breaking the barrier and having enough time to still grab the bat and hit the sandbag with it. Even when I didn't really have to optimize and could have just gone for a meager 1,300 or 1,400 feet, I still found myself messing around for a bit. There's also Multi-Man Brawl, where you fight these alloy enemies that imitate different characters. The yellow alloy is Mario, blue is like Zelda, red is like Captain Falcon, and green is like Kirby. You can't use special moves and never pick up items, or at least not intentionally. They're all different, but it doesn't really end up making much more of a difference. The game mode itself is fine. You just fight a bunch of these guys who are super weak under different conditions, like fighting 100 of them without dying, fighting them for 3 minutes, or how about 15 minutes, or what about forever? Or just like 10 of them. The most interesting option here is definitely Cruel Smash, but that doesn't mean I like it. In Cruel Smash, you fight a bunch of the alloys, but instead of them being super weak and dying instantly, you're super weak and die instantly. They're also super aggressive and throw out moves constantly, unlike in the other modes. Although they do seem to get a bit more aggressive the more of them you kill in modes like 100-Man Brawl. Also, every 25th enemy spawns as a regular character, so that's something, I suppose. Lastly, we have Boss Battles mode, which you unlock by completing the Supspace Emissary. This mode is essentially just a boss rush where you fight all of the different bosses throughout the Supspace Emissary, and also Classic mode. The order in which you fight the bosses is random, except for the final fight, which is always taboo. There's 10 bosses in total, with Master Hand and Crazy Hand fighting separately. You're given 3 full heal heart pieces to use in the rest area after each fight, and if you die in a fight, you lose and have to start all over. This makes completing Boss Battles mode on higher difficulties actually really hard. Unlike in Classic mode, where if you run out of lives, you can just pay some coins to continue, in Boss Battles, you can't do that. It's all in one attempt. So completing the Boss Battles on intense difficulty is actually one of the harder things to do in this game. I really like Boss Battles mode. Most of Brawl's bosses are pretty good, and this mode actually gives a legit challenge to completing it, since if you die, you have to start over. However, on lower difficulties, the bosses are a complete cakewalk, hardly dealing any damage or putting up a fight. On easy, you can kill Master Hand and Crazy Hand after just like one attack if you're quick enough. Sometimes I don't even end up needing to use a heart piece until taboo, which, then I could probably go without it. I don't really need it. But regardless, it's still a good mode. The other unlockable mode is All-Star mode, but this one isn't found in the stadium, it's on the main screen. All-Star mode is unlocked once you have unlocked all the characters. This is because you fight every single character throughout All-Star mode, starting with the oldest Nintendo series being Mr. Game Watch and ending with the newest at the time being Pikmin with Olimar. Just like with boss battles, there's a rest area with 3 heart pieces to use. All-Star mode is one of the longer modes, taking quite a few minutes to complete, even on easy. My biggest problem with it is just how samey it feels to play. The order never changes, and the stages hardly do either. In Melee, at first you fought 1 character, then 2, and then 3, ending with a fight versus 25 Game & Watches. Personally, I preferred that a bit more because the stages and fights were less samey and felt different each time. I guess this version makes All-Star mode stick out a bit more instead of just being random fights, but still. That's not to say it's a bad mode, it's still fun enough, and I enjoy most of the stage options anyway. And the fact that each character fights on their own stage and with their own series does make the fights stick out in my mind, like each one has a certain feel to it, if you will. When you beat All-Star mode with a character, you get a trophy of their final smash, which is super cool. These trophies are really fun to collect because of how unique and dynamic the final smash trophies are. Sometimes I'll pick a character and play through All-Star mode with them just to see what their trophy looks like. This is what makes Brawl's All-Star mode definitely better than Melee's, because these trophies are way cooler than the Melee trophies. I'm sad we never got Final Smash trophies for Ultimate. They would have been pretty neat. Overall, Brawl has some of, if not the best single player in any Smash game. It certainly has the best single player mode in any Smash game, being the Supspace Emissary, on top of all the usual modes, plus the addition of Boss Battles mode. I think that without a doubt, the #1 reason to come back to Brawl, and why I've come back to it before, is for the single player. There's other single player things I haven't gone over yet, such as unlockables, challenges, a few minor things as well, but even still, the stuff that Brawl has to offer is really great. I never really had any friends growing up to play Smash Bros with, but yet I still found just playing the game casually to be really enjoyable, and that's not something every fighting game, or even Smash game, can say. Brawl's single player is phenomenal, but that wasn't the only thing that was expanded upon. Brawl was also the first Smash game to introduce online play. Finally, you can play Super Smash Bros with your friends across the entire globe. Or not. Unfortunately for us, the Wii servers were shut down on May 20th, 2014. So, we can no longer play Super Smash Bros. Brawl online. Or can we? Using the powers of homebrew and modding my Wii U, we're able to play Brawl online once again. There's one issue, though. No one fucking plays this game online anymore. Basically, the only game people actually play online is Mario Kart Wii. But I did get to experience the joys of Brawls Online with the help of my friend Aiden. And, yeah, it's about as bad as people say it is, and the online options themselves aren't much better. There's no 1v1 option, and it's just 2-minute KO Fest, which is garbage, and the stage options are literally any stage, but I guess you can turn some off, although I'm not really sure how that works. Like, if you turn every stage off, then can you not pick a stage, or does this affect other players? I don't get it without playing against actual people, which, like I said, isn't happening. Playing with friends seems fine. You can customize the options to more than just 2-minute KO fests and do actual stock stuff, so that's cool. Plus, there's like some other things, like the home run contest and multi-man brawl, if that's your thing. Still though, this online is extremely undercooked. The options are just not that good. It's cool that it's here for playing with friends, but the connection is still garbage, so it really doesn't end up adding as much as it could have. However, something that does add a lot to the game is the Vault. The Vault is where you'll find all of the miscellaneous modes and activities that Brawl has to offer. For example, this is where the Stage Builder mode is located, or the album, which lets you view the photos you take. I only took one photo, being one of this strange enemy found in the Battleship Halberd exterior stage, in the Supspace Emissary. Apparently it's called Mizzo, and is like a scrapped enemy that would have been found in water, judging from its trophy description. You'd think that they would have just replaced it with, like, an enemy that's, like, normally in the game, but it's kind of cool that they left it in the game anyways. Also, the game comes with a pre-taken photo of Wario and Zero Suit Samus doing this, so, that's something. Along with the album, there's also replays, which obviously lets you view your saved replays, and also comes with a pre-taken replay of Lucas in his Klaus costume totally fucking up Sandbag and Home Run contest. This is genuinely impressive. I wonder if, like, some employee was just messing around and did this, like, sick home run contest and was like, yo, put it in the game, please, and then they did. A neat little side activity to play from time to time are the masterpieces. These are short demos of various Nintendo games, some of which you have to unlock, that are pretty cool, but would be cooler if they weren't so ridiculously short. Like, oh boy, 30 seconds of Donkey Kong! What a treat! It'd also be a lot cooler if you could still play them, but like, because of the Wii Shop channel shutting down, you can't play them anymore. Still cool though, they didn't have to add these into the game. It gave me a chance as a kid to play some of these older Nintendo games. There's some really cool ones here, like Super Metroid, Star Fox 64, and Ocarina of Time, but calling Ice Climbers a masterpiece is a bit of an exaggeration. There's also Chronicles, which lets you view a list of games throughout Nintendo's history that are featured in some way in Super Smash Bros Brawl. Again, they didn't have to do this, but they did it anyway. I'm not really sure how many people care about this sort of thing. I mean, I never really looked at it much, but it's still neat that it's here. Then you have the trophies and stickers, which lets you view all of your collected trophies and stickers, whether in the gallery, sticker album, sticker center, or the trophy hoard, which also lets you arrange your trophies in different dioramas, allowing you to create art. On top of that, there's also the coin launcher, which is like a tabletop game where you shoot coins at different targets to earn stickers, or shoot trophies to collect them. You can earn coins from doing basically anything in the game, for the most part. Now, there is one last thing to cover in the Vault, being the challenges. The challenges are what really make up the meat and potatoes of playing Brawl single player. Sure, you have all of these fun modes, but why play them? What do I get? Well, through completing challenges, you can unlock stickers, trophies, stages, music, masterpieces, stage builder parts, basically most things that aren't characters or full modes. Completing all the challenges basically requires you to 100% the game, which is easier said than done, given it asks you to do things like collect all the stickers in the game, do stuff like play 100 hours of Brawl, not just play the game for 100 hours, but play in the Brawl mode in a match specifically. Now, these challenges are meant to be completed over a period of months and years of play, but I decided to take my hand at 100%ing Brawl because, I don't know, it seemed kind of fun. I know that up until this point in the video it's been a review, and now it's partially turning into a guide, but like, just roll with it because there's a lot to go over. The first thing to go over are the characters. Every character has 3 main ways of unlocking them. 1, you can play a bunch of versus matches, starting with 5 total to unlock Ness, and ending with 450 to unlock Wolf. So that's not the greatest option in the long run. 2, you can unlock them through the Supspace Emissary. Once they join your party in that mode, they will be unlocked in the normal game. This is great, since if you're playing Brawl, you're probably playing the Supspace Emissary anyways. And lastly, 3 is a unique method of unlocking each character, requiring you to do a more specific task. I use this option for basically every character because it was kinda just more fun. You'll see that later on, 100%ing Brawl is kind of an endurance test. There's just a lot of things to do, so keeping things fresh and interesting, even in the sacrifice of optimization, is fine to me. Besides, most of the tasks are tasks you would have to do anyways if you wanted to complete the challenges, so it works out. Ness is the first character I unlocked, and the only one I didn't do the unique method for. His method is done by reflecting 10 projectiles, but like, no. There's some other variable involved here, because I definitely reflected 10 projectiles. Maybe they have to hit an opponent, or maybe they have to be, like, shield reflected. But, like, it doesn't matter. Just play 5 matches and boom, you've got them. Marth and Luigi are both very similar. Just beat Classic Mode for Marth and beat it without using a continue for Luigi. Falco's simple, just beat 100-man Brawl, and Captain Falcon is a bit more specific, requiring you to beat Classic Mode on normal or higher difficulty within 12 minutes. For Lucario, you have to unlock all the target smash stages, which can be done by playing them in Classic Mode, and then complete them with any single character. Snake's easy, just play 15 matches on Shadow Moses Island, and for Rob, you have to unlock 250 unique trophies. This can take a while to do, which is why I recommend spacing out unlocking each character, but an easy way to unlock trophies is just by using the coin launcher. To unlock Ganondorf, you have to beat Classic Mode on hard or higher with either Link, Zelda, or Sheik. I sort of messed this one up and ended up having to play through Classic Mode twice with Zelda, because I played through it on very hard with Link, but ended up unlocking Sonic, who we'll quickly get to, but first is Mr. Game & Watch. To unlock him, you must complete one of the different target test stages with 30 or more characters. You start with 21, so you need to unlock at least 9 for him. Now for Sonic, who's actually special in that he has 2 unique ways of unlocking him. You can either beat Classic Mode with 10 characters, or play Brawls for 10 hours. So that's cool, I guess. Then the last 3, Jigglypuff, Toon Link, and Wolf, all of whom require that you have beaten the Subspace Emissary before unlocking them. Jigglypuff can be gotten by beating 20 event matches, Toon Link's unlocked by beating Classic Mode after beating Subspace Emissary, and Wolf is unlocked by beating boss battles with either Fox or Falco. I personally really enjoy unlocking characters this way. Using the unique method for each character, it just makes the process a lot more fun, especially since you get to fight them, unlike in Subspace Emissary. As for basically everything else, it can be unlocked through completing the challenges. Now, I am not going to go over every single challenge, that would just be unnecessary. I don't need to tell you how to play as Luigi 3 times to unlock Luigi's Mansion stage. But I will go over some of the more notable challenges that I can provide some useful insight towards. Starting from the top left corner and going left to right, row to row, is the first challenge, being completing boss battles on intense difficulty. I mentioned earlier how this is one of the more difficult things to do in Brawl, and the character I used was King Dedede, because of his multiple jumps and big damage. However, another character I thought might be good for this is Charizard. I never tried to use him on Intense, but his Rock Smash does insane damage to the bosses, so he might be a good pick as well. Then we have the next 2 challenges. I swear I'm not going to be talking about all of them. Being clearing target test stages 1 and 4 under a certain amount of time. Each stage has a challenge like this, and while a plethora of characters will work for this, I find that Fox and Pikachu are especially good picks that work well with almost any of these challenges. Clearing 100-man Brawl in under 3.5 minutes isn't too hard of a challenge, but I found the best character for this is Pikachu, and just spamming down B on top of the left or right platform. There's also another challenge, being completing it in under 4 minutes, but that's ridiculously easy. Brawling on Green Hill Zone 10 times is one of many Brawl on Blank Stage, blank amount of times challenges. Quickest way to do these is by going to Special Brawl, giving everyone the flower, setting the speed to fast, setting the mode to stamina, and setting the CPU's health to 1. You can get through matches lightning fast this way. This method also works for any blank character or blank amount of time challenges as well. Next challenge of interest is defeating 5 enemies in Cruel Brawl. There's also another challenge for defeating 10 enemies. My strategy for this isn't pretty nor consistent, but it got me 16 kills on an attempt, so I don't know, it can work. I just used Kirby and tried luring the alloys off stage and killing them with his up B. On top of that, I also tried killing them with his down B. Like I said, it's not consistent, so feel free to experiment with different strats. Also, I'm not sure if the KOs have to be within one match or total high score, but I think it's in one match. Another multi-man related challenge is enduring a 15-minute multi-man brawl. Again, there's different strategies you could come up with for this one, but I found using Jigglypuff and just camping underneath the stage works well. It takes a while and you still have to be wary of the alloys jumping down at you, but it gets the job done. Moving a ways on down to an interesting challenge, we have getting a combined max combo in training mode of 400. This is meant to be done with a bunch of characters, but by using Kirby, heading to the Hyrule Temple, positioning Kirby and a big character like King Dedede into this corner and setting his mode to control, you can just use Kirby's Rapid Jab and very easily get a 999 combo. One of the weirder challenges to me is having to get 5 standard victories with Peach. It's the only challenge that specifies that you use a character and not only win with them, but also that it has to be a standard victory, meaning no special brawl or anything like that. Just sort of a strangely specific challenge. Getting 2,000 KOs is a really tedious challenge. For starters, any KOs you get in any basic mode like Classic or any KOs you get from special brawls don't count towards your total KO number. I can understand the other modes, but the fact that Special Brawl doesn't count is kind of stupid because it could make this challenge a lot more fun. Now, in order to complete this challenge in any sort of timely manner, we have to create a KO Factory stage. There are plenty of ways you could make a KO Factory stage, especially if you have multiple controllers, but I only have one extra one. This is what the stage looks like. You can alter the stage if you want to make it work better, but I don't know, the way it's set up right now, it works very well. I know the stage looks strange at first glance, but let me explain. There's a glitch in Brawl where you can clip into blocks by using platforms and placing platforms to stand on them while inside of the blocks. You can use this to land on these platforms, and by using a character like Link, you can spam up smash or up tilt to kill enemies while inside of the blocks, and since you're inside of the blocks, you can't be touched or killed. The glitch itself is a little hard to perform, but if you roll into this corner and jump at a precise angle and double jump, it's kind of inconsistent. As for the match settings, make it a team battle, add 3 Ganondorfs to the same team, although any low mobility character should work, set team attack off, set the stocks to 99, and handicap them to 300%. You can also increase the damage ratio as well. Now hop into a match, spam the moves, and you'll earn KOs fairly quickly. The nice thing about this is that it's pretty mindless. You don't have to look at the screen really, just spam the move, so you can do this while watching a show, movie, or video like this one. It takes a while, but you also have probably earned quite a few KOs from completing other challenges, so it's not as bad as it seems. Yet another time-consuming challenge is completing 100-man Brawl with all characters. There's other challenges like this for the other modes, but this one is especially difficult because there's no easy mode nor spending coins to continue if you lose your stocks. However, for most characters you can spam their up tilts while on the bottom right platform, which that works fine, and if up tilt isn't good enough, then up smash should work, and if that doesn't work either, then I don't know, just mess around with their moves and figure out what moves kill the alloys instantly and is also spammable. Most characters have some sort of option you can use. The 2 most tedious challenges in the entire game are without a doubt collecting all CDs and all stickers, with the latter being the hardest challenge in the game to achieve. For this challenge, you also need to create a stage, one that looks like this, although I did use a shorter version at first. The stage is a CD and stickers factory, and how it works is by turning on only sandbag items, on high of course, and standing in this corner torturing the sandbags repeatedly until they drop the goods. At first I used Link for this, just spamming up smash like for the KOs, but eventually I changed the design of the stage a bit and used Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong has a surprisingly powerful jab, and that was a lot easier to spam than an up smash. Also, this will automatically pick up the stickers and CDs. The other way, you had to stop and pick them up. It's easier to earn all CDs as compared to stickers because you can't grab repeat CDs, they're always new, which makes collecting all stickers very luck-based and very annoying. Also, you can't collect more than 256 stickers per match. If you go over that, it resets your sticker total, so you don't keep those previous stickers. I kept each match to 10 minutes, at least with the Donkey Kong method. The Link method might earn more stickers quicker, but it also requires a bit more attention. I'd rather just mash a button and then start a new match every 10 minutes. Lastly, I hope you have a second controller to sit idly, otherwise you'll have to deal with a CPU. Not too bad, just kind of annoying. This challenge took me forever. Seriously, I spent a few days just mashing the godforsaken 2 button on my Wii remote, which I switched to because the button was easier to press than the classic controllers. The nice thing is that you can do this while doing something else, like with the KO Factory. But still, this is the most obnoxious challenge by far. Next, we have what you might think to be a more annoying challenge at first, but actually it's pretty simple. Brawling for over 100 hours. Like I mentioned before, this specifies in a brawl match, not just in a match. To complete this challenge, plug in as many controllers as you have so that the game mode just stocks with no timer, select a stage, and leave it on overnight. The reason you want multiple people is because it combines every player's playtime, so 10 hours with 2 people is actually 20 hours of brawls played. If you don't have any extra controllers, then do it with like 1 and go to like the box stage I showed earlier. This way the CPU can't kill you, and when it comes to end the match, just pause and input the buttons to end it. The hours will still count. I had to do this a few times overnight, but it didn't really matter much. I just turned off the TV while the game is still running, so I don't have the screen blaring all night. It works pretty well, and in enough time, you should be able to complete this challenge. Lastly, we have collecting 5,000 coins in coin matches. Once again, we need a stage. Create one like this, and during a match, go over to this area over here, and let yourself into the Spike Death coin collecting trap. The CPU shouldn't try to get over to it even if they die, and about 5 minutes should be enough to earn 5,000 coins. And that's basically all the challenges I wanted to go over. The only other thing of mention are the completing modes with all characters challenges. I bring them up because there's also challenges for collecting trophies of all characters, which is like the same thing basically. I guess for stuff like Zelda and Sheik or Pokemon Trainer it's a little different, but still seems weird to make these 2 different challenges. Now, even with all of the challenges completed, there are still a few more things to go over. For one, there are a few other unlockables I have yet to go over. There are a few extra things like the More Rules option in Brawl Mode and Random Stage Switch, which are unlocked by earning 200 KOs and unlocking all stages respectively. Then there are 6 unlockable assist trophies. 3 of them are pretty easy. For Gray Fox, unlock Snake, for Shadow, unlock Sonic, and then for Barbara, unlock 25 CDs. Then there's 3 harder ones, being Ray Mark III, Isaac, and Infantry and Tanks. For these 3, you have to play 100, 200, and 300 matches respectively. It's still pretty simple though, just do that same thing I recommended for playing matches quickly for challenges. Although 300 is quite a lot, you're bound to play a lot of them anyways for other purposes, so it ends up not being all too many. The final thing I wanted to go over is unlocking all trophies. Surprisingly, it isn't a regular challenge. The best way to grind for trophies is by using the coin launcher. The only problem with this is that the coin launcher uses, coins and quite a lot of them. And I pretty quickly ran out of coins for the coin launcher. So, the best way that I found to grind for coins is by going to the Supspace Emissary and playing on the Ruined Hall stage. All you have to do on this stage is fight Gallium, and for doing so you earn 30 or 40 or so coins. You can also use stickers to deal more damage and also use them to increase the odds of Gallium dropping trophies, since that's what you're grinding the coins for anyways. I suppose now would also be a good time to go over the trophies that you can only get from the Supspace Emissary, being the trophy stand trophies. I've already talked about how you can do this with regular enemies, and there's not really too much more to go over. Some of them can be a little tricky to actually get the trophy from, but most of them are manageable enough, and you're bound to get a lot of them throughout the game, assuming you're playing on intense difficulty. But there's still some things to go over, like the R-Mank enemies. I just mentioned them because I think they're the hardest one to get a trophy from, because you have to destroy their arm first, so that they're vulnerable, so that you can throw the trophy stand. And it's kind of a tight window, so that one's pretty tough. Also, there's just not a lot of stages that have them in it. And then also the shell pot enemies. Those guys can be kind of... They're weird because you have to get 2 trophies from them, one with the armor on and one with the armor off, and with the armor on, you have to, like, get them to low HP, but not low enough. If the shell comes off, it's just a tight window for that as well. Also these, like, I forget what they're called, I think Gamma was something. These tall, weird, freaky-looking tiki statue creature, I don't know what they are, but they're also annoying to get because they constantly throw lasers, and you have to, like, destroy their towers so that they're low enough to throw a trophy stand. It's annoying, but what is probably almost more annoying is having to get a trophy from the bosses in the Supspace Emissary. You have to do this as well. After you've, like, either beaten the boss or beaten the Supspace Emissary, I'm not really sure which one it is, but you replay a stage with a boss that you've already beaten, there's a chance for a trophy stand item to appear. Now, the problem with this is that you have to get the bosses to low HP, and then wait for a trophy stand item to appear, which can take a while, and you also have to survive actually fighting them, and also not accidentally killing them, and then throwing the trophy stand and not missing, which, on intense difficulty, these guys, they really, some of them move around a lot, so that in and of itself can be pretty tricky. But it's doable for most of the bosses. I would say some of the harder ones are Ridley and Meta Ridley, because they, like, Ridley, he, like, hangs off to the edges of the stage, so if you throw the trophy stand item, it just falls off, and with Meta Ridley, he's basically constantly on the left side of the stage, so those two are kind of hard because you have to time it correctly when they're, like, on the stage, or I guess, like, throw it and then catch it when it's falling before it despawns. I don't know what you want to do there, it's really up to you. Also, Taboo, he's pretty tricky as well, for not similar reasons, but he's just Taboo. It's the final boss. It's kind of hard to just survive for that long against him, even though you do get 6 stocks instead of 4, like with all the other bosses. But I really think this feature is cool. Like, it's kind of neat. I don't know, like, getting these boss trophies by actually using trophy stands on the bosses. That's just a fun idea that I think is cool and fun to do, even if it is also kind of really fucking annoying to get some of these trophies. But overall, I enjoy the process. I think it's a cool feature, and it adds a lot to the Supspace Emissary and the process of collecting all the trophies in the game. The last trophy I needed to collect was Paper Bowser, who took quite a while to appear. Perhaps it's penance for me not using him very much in my Super Paper Mario video. But eventually, I got him. Also, I would recommend not shooting the little extra things that appear, since those really only earn you stickers, unless you decide to finish collecting trophies before collecting all the stickers, in which case, don't worry about it. And with that, I've basically gone over everything in Super Smash Bros Brawl. The only other thing I can think of to go over are the notices, which I did not get all of because that would require playing 1 million matches, which I'm not doing, and you don't get anything for doing so. So yeah, fuck that. Now, with everything gone over, I circle back to the original thesis of this video and, well, I mean the damn title of it as well. Why should you play Brawl? Why bother coming back to it? The biggest issue with Brawl as a game is the competitive scene, or, well, lack thereof, rather. There are still some people that play Brawl competitively, just like how there's still some people that listen to Justin Bieber. The scene is small, and for a good reason. Brawl just isn't that fun competitively. There is more to it than just Meta Knight, but man, there are just so many much better fighting games out there. The only reason Brawl sees any real play is because it's Smash Bros, which is a popular series, so there's bound to be some people who flock to it just because it's Smash, why not? However, Brawl was never really trying to be a competitive game. Hell, Smash as a series never really tried to be a competitive game, at least not very hard. Smash has always focused more on the actual video game side of things. What are people gonna do with this game when they're just playing it for fun and not on some tournament? Smash games have always had these single-player options. Classic mode and target tests were always there, and Melee added on to it with new modes and trophies. But Brawl added not only the Supspace Emissary, but also the challenges. And the challenges may not sound like much, but they really make a difference. They give an actual goddamn reason to play the single-player modes on higher difficulties and play them with each character. A reason to try and do as well as you can in home run contest, to practice the target test stages, to actually fucking play Cruel Brawl. It gives these modes far more of a purpose and makes them feel like I'm actually playing a video game. Melee, on the other hand, doesn't have these challenges and doesn't feel like a video game. Not always. It's not like it's horrible or anything, it's actually quite fun still, but only for a bit. Once you get tired of the modes, you just start to question why the hell you're playing through adventure mode with Bowser. I'd rather just be playing against an actual person, or just be playing a normal single-player video game. That's what makes Brawl the first Smash game to nail single-player. It provides reason and purpose to play it without friends outside of just unlocking characters and stages. Sure, competitively it's not great, but even with friends it's still fun. Sure, now there's no real reason to play it over Ultimate, but for the time, it was still pretty good. It's still a Smash game. I didn't have friends to play Brawl with growing up, not really, so all I had was the single player, and I played the hell out of it. I loved completing the different challenges, even the more tedious ones, because I got something for it, and it was a dinky little trophy still, but it felt like I had earned something, and it was satisfying. Brawl set the groundwork for what would become Smash's single player, and Smash for Wii U and 3DS's single player, and especially Ultimates, are very good. Even then though, Brawl still has the Subspace Emissary, something neither of them do, which provides even more of a reason to come back to Brawl. In fact, Subspace probably is the biggest reason to come back to Brawl, it's just that good of a mode. Brawl isn't a good fighting game. The game's slow, with little combos, and those few combos it does have are chain grabs. It's ruled by one absurdly good character, has tripping, and probably the most unbalanced roster in any Smash game. However, Brawl is a very good Smash game. It sets out to do what most Smash games have done, which is be a fun video game, and succeeds. Frankly, I think that it's that very aspect of the Smash series that makes it so good. They're more than just fighting games, they are entire video games themselves that you can thoroughly enjoy even outside of competitive. That's why Melee feels like way more of a traditional fighting game and is treated as such, because that's the main thing it has going for it. However, starting with Brawl, the Smash series becomes more than just good fighting games. They became good video games, even if Brawl itself wasn't a very good fighting game either. Brawl might just be the most important Smash game. It changed what they could be. And even if it's been a bit forgotten, it's still a great game to come back to and play every now and then. I recommend you go back to Brawl and try completing it. It's a lot of fun. Let me know what your opinion on Brawl is. Do you think it's a good single-player game? Do you actually enjoy Brawl's competitive scene? Probably not, but maybe you just love Brawl Meta Night and you play it every day before going to bed. I don't know. I always read the comments. Let me know anything about Brawl. Brawl's a cool game. I don't know. I like learning about it. And, yeah. If you like the video, like it. And if you like me, subscribe. I think I'm supposed to say those things. Yeah, okay. That basically covers it. Thank you for watching. And, with that being said, have a wonderful rest of your day.